what's up? It's Karen San Diego, and I'm now officially like a year and a half post-op, something like that. It's been a minute since I did a VSG update, and while there's not always a lot to talk about, I think a good amount has happened, so I decided to give an update. And some of these updates are VSG related, some of them are not, but I have my list here with all the updates that I want to talk to you about, so let's get right into it. And then at the end of this video, I will show you what I weigh now at around a year and a half post-op. All right, so the first thing I have on my list doesn't necessarily relate to VSG necessarily, although it sort of does, but just in general. I've seen a lot of you messaging me, especially on Instagram, to ask why I haven't been as consistent on YouTube as I was before. And the answer to that is I've just been burnt out. I've been feeling a lot of pressure to create, and that has nothing to do with the content that I post, because I love posting VSG content and I will continue to post VSG content. It's just the platforms themselves have been requiring a lot that just hasn't really felt sustainable for me. And I'll go into a little bit more about that in a second, and why I feel like I'm in a better place now. But yeah, I've just been feeling really burnt out with creating, and that kind of leads into the next thing I have on this list, which is just, I feel like a huge part of why I feel burnt out. And although at first I felt like the whole burnout thing was just coming from the amount of content that is necessary to post, it's also, I feel like I got to a point where I kind of just started to notice that all of my platforms here on YouTube, over on Instagram, if you don't follow me, this is my Instagram handle. Also over on TikTok, that started to pick up a little bit too. I'll share my TikTok handle as well. I noticed that when I would post something, the content would do pretty well and it would reach an audience, and it wasn't just reaching an audience, it was reaching the right audience. So it was reaching you guys, people who have VSG surgery or want VSG surgery or on a wellness weight loss journey or any of that. And the more I started noticing my channels being successful, I feel like subconsciously I started to get a little bit scared. And it's like, I feel like there's so many things that I've wanted to do in life, and they just never have panned out quite the way I wanted them to. And seeing myself put the energy into this and seeing it pay off, I think I got a little bit scared of what success would look like. And I feel like that sounds a little strange, but it was just like that fear of the unknown, of knowing, okay, now that things are starting to pick up, what is life going to look like now? Am I the right person for this? Am I good enough? And just all of these overwhelming fears just started flooding my head to the point where it made me start to feel like I was being burnt out, even though it wasn't burnout. It was more so just me being scared of actually accomplishing my goals. And that may sound crazy to some people, but I'm sure there's some people that does resonate with, and it doesn't necessarily have to only deal with YouTube. Like with anything you do in life, success can be scary, especially when you have nothing to draw from. So I had no clue. I don't have any friends who do this for a living. I don't know what to expect. So it got a little scary, but I've had to really sit with myself and take the time to be able to realize that, like, whatever comes with this, whatever happens will happen, and whatever success that I'm seeing from sharing my journey online, I deserve. And that's the part of it that I think I've really been struggling with. Not only do I deserve it, am I worthy of it, but also, like, can I handle it? Because let's be real, putting yourself out there and putting your life out there, your personal business out there on the internet, can have some great things come from it, but can also have some pretty scary things come from it. A certain lack of privacy that comes with it, that I think I'm just learning to mentally prepare myself for. And I've already started to get little glimpses of what that life would be like. But just to be honest, that's where my head's been at for a little bit, just kind of scared. But I've been doing a lot of soul searching to try to work past that and just come to a place where I have the confidence to believe in myself and my abilities, and to believe in my worthiness to be a vessel, to share my journey in the hopes of inspiring other people. And I see that word come across a lot in my comments, inspiring. You're so inspiring. And even that has been scary for me, because sometimes I wonder, like, am I the right person to be inspiring? Am I good enough for that, to be this inspiration for people? And I was not in the best place mentally for the past like few weeks, let's say past 2 months or so, just kind of really second guessing myself. But I'm here, I'm back. And that kind of segues me into this next thing that I wanted to talk about, which not only did I start to second guess myself, but also my routine kind of switched up. And this is related to my work life, but also related to my life as far as being consistent in the gym, being consistent with like being active, being consistent with like, with everything really. And I noticed that this was my first summer being a working mom, if that makes sense. If you've been following my journey for a while, you know that when I first started doing this type of content, I was a teacher. When I was, let's say around like 3 months post-op, 4 months post-op, I quit teaching, and now I still work in education, but I work on the network side of things. So I work in an office setting, partially remote. And because of that, this was my first summer where I didn't have summer off. My first in my adult life. For as long as I've been an actual real working adult, I've been a teacher. So now this is my first summer not getting the whole summer off. So it was my first summer having to balance working and having my child home, because she didn't go to summer camp or anything. She stayed home with us. And because of that, that completely threw me off of my gym schedule. I still did go to the gym, because they do have, the gym I was going to had a childcare center in it. The one I go to now also has childcare, but the one I was going to at the time did have childcare. So I did bring her there, but I wasn't 100% comfortable bringing her to that childcare center. So it made it a little bit more difficult for me to work that into my schedule, as well as I just felt a lot of my energy, like I wasn't able to properly put my energy into the right places. So that caused me to fall a little bit off track, not really with my eating, because I'm in a really good swing of things with food. I know how to balance moderation and all of that good stuff. And I'll also get into that a little bit later in this conversation as well. But more so when it comes to my working out, that's where I feel like I fell off a little bit, because my schedule was just not what it was prior to that. And that all just kind of funnels into everything else. So because my schedule was off, because I wasn't in the gym as much, and for me, the gym is therapy. For me, going to the gym helps me clear my mind. Like I have my AirPods Max. I put them on, I put the soundproof on, and I'm in my own zone when I'm in there. I have a lot of me time when I'm in the gym, and not getting that kind of really had me in a bad mental space as far as just being a productive human being. But with the start of the new school year, I feel myself slowly getting back into my routine. I have enough time in the day to get my 9 to 5 work done, get my work done for my content creation, be a mom to my daughter when she's home from school, and then also have time to just be me and relax. Also adding in time there to go to the gym and work out and make sure I'm doing all of the things. So I feel like when I was a teacher, I used to think that parents were just like, didn't want to watch their kids, and they looked at us as a babysitters, and I'm like, we are not babysitters, we are educators. What is wrong with parents? But now I'm like, no, y'all are babysitters, because watch this child for me. It really does take a village, and shout out to the teachers at Ryan's school. They really hold it down. I know she feels loved and comfortable there, so I feel so comfortable when she's at school, which gives me the comfort of being able to tackle everything I need to tackle during that time. Speaking of the gym, something that has happened in the gym that has also caused me to be a little bit off, but I'm getting to a place now where I'm better, is I had a little bit of an injury in the gym. And I think this comes from just not being a pro. And a lot of you guys have asked me to do a video like showing my workout, breaking down what I do in the gym. The only reason I haven't done that video is because I'm genuinely not a professional. Like I do not know what I'm doing. I'm in the gym kind of just feeling it out, doing things that feel right, doing things that I see other people doing. I watch YouTube videos and kind of trying to follow those routines, but I'm not a professional. And I injured myself in the gym because I am not a professional. So basically, I injured one of the bones in my back. Not too bad, but bad enough to where it put me out of commission for a little bit. Basically just doing squats without the Smith machine and kind of just resting the barbell on my back right here kind of messed my back up a little bit. Like just having bad form really messed me up. I'm better now, so about to be back at it, and you'll see that in the what I eat in a days and routine videos that I have coming up, that I'm back on top of that. But I had to pause in the gym a little bit to heal my injury that I have on my back because of that, which is why I want to stress, if any of you are starting this journey and want to start going to the gym, I would suggest having a trainer for the first few months of you in the gym, if you can afford to do so, or maybe working out with a friend who you know does know what they're doing, just because you can really hurt yourself if you're doing these things wrong, and I've learned that the hard way. So I was thinking about getting a trainer to try to help me just make sure that I'm doing things right and I have the right form so I do not injure myself again. But yeah. Speaking of my back, another thing I have here on my list is I have started to see a chiropractor. And the reason for the chiropractor isn't even necessarily the back injury. It's just that I've noticed since losing weight that my posture has gotten worse. I'm sure if you've seen my what I eat in a day videos, where you see me just kind of walking around, I have really like hunched posture that I'm working on fixing, as well as just like my back is just kind of it has just been really bad. And I had back pain before surgery, kind of just in my lower back, which I thought was related to my weight, as well as my boobs that used to be really big, and my epidural when I had Ryan. So then I thought when I lost weight that the back pain would go away, but it kind of worsened as of recently for me. So I've been going to a chiropractor, and he said that it's something that he sees often with people who have lost a lot of weight, is that your back had kind of adjusted to the amount of weight that you had on you before. And when you lose all of that weight, the spine doesn't quite adjust as easy as it should. So he's been helping me just get readjusted to fix those problems, to help with the pain, and to just help with my posture. So I did start seeing a chiropractor for that. I actually have an appointment with him later today, and I'm excited because when they readjust your back, ooh, it feels so good, honestly. So that has been really helpful. I've gone to the doctor since my last update, and still all of my nutrients have been good. My labs have come back completely, like everything in the green, which has been great. And I think that is largely due to two things. I think it's due to the fact that I am consistent with my vitamins. We'll get into that in a second. But I am usually consistent with my vitamins, as well as I eat a pretty nutritious, like my diet is pretty good. Like I eat vegetables now. I eat, and I have been for quite some time. I eat my vegetables. I eat carbs, and I get in a good amount of protein, a lot of it coming directly from food, but I do, when I work out, supplement with protein shakes and things like that. So I think all around, just the way that I eat, the type of foods that I eat, I still do juice. I make my juices, and if I don't make them, I buy fresh juices to get some nutrients from the fruits and vegetables that way. But I think all around, just my diet and how consistent I am with my vitamins has really, really helped as far as making sure I'm staying healthy. Because as much as the goal after surgery is to lose weight and look good, it also is about being physically healthy. And luckily, every single time I've gone to the doctor and have had blood drawn, I've been good in that department. So I'm so grateful for that, and also proud of myself for staying consistent with food. Now, that's not to say that I'm perfect and that I don't ever eat anything that is bad, but I am of the philosophy that nothing is bad for you if eaten in moderation. So can you have cookies and donuts and ice cream and pizza and all this, whatever? Yeah. But can you have that every day? Absolutely not. Like, as long as you're eating things in small portions as you're supposed to and in moderation, I think everything is fine. And I've been doing a really good job at staying consistent with that. So yeah, so I think that is a big reason why my labs have come back good every single time. Along the same lines of my labs being good as far as my blood work, oh, and to go in specifics a little bit more with my blood work, some of the things that were looking bad before, well, one of the main things in my blood work that was bad was that I was pre-diabetic pre-surgery. My blood sugar levels are in the perfect range right now. I don't know the exact numbers, but my doctor has, like, it's highlighted in green if it's good, it's yellow or like orange if it's like and then it's red if it's bad. My blood sugar before was in like the orange range. And then another thing that was not good was my B12. My B12, I believe, was like in the red, like it was really bad. Both of those are now in the green. Although I do still supplement my B12, and that could have been part of why it was in the green. Although even with me supplementing my B12 before, it was still like red orange, like it was concerning. But now with my supplements, and I take B12 supplements, just the drops. I don't take like what you call it, shots or anything like that. I just do the B12 drops, and I'm not that consistent with that. Like, I don't do it every day, but I do it when I remember. And there's a brand that I buy it from on Amazon. I think it's linked in my Amazon storefront. And then Motivate also has a brand of, has some B12 drops that I take as well. But I just take those randomly whenever I see it and remember to take it. I think calcium was also low at some point as well, and that also was in the green. Like, literally everything. My doctor was like so proud just because seeing everything be in the green. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. But along the lines of vitamins and all that kind of stuff, and seeing that my nutrient levels are good, I want to give a little bit of a hair loss update. And as far as hair loss, I am not experiencing basically any real significant hair loss anymore. Just sometimes, like, I'll do like a wash and go or something and leave my hair curly and not like brush it for a while. And if I leave it like that for a week or so, when I do brush my hair, there might be like some tangles that are coming out or some hair that falls out, but just a little bit, like the amount that just naturally would fall out if you don't brush your hair for a while. But like the significant hair loss, that has stopped for me for a while now. I want to say maybe like month 6. You can go back and watch my old updates because I really don't remember, but I think around month 6 is when that stopped, or maybe a little bit after that, but definitely before a year is when the hair loss had stopped for me. But what I did have was thinning here, which now there's just a lot of like really small like baby hairs that are growing back in my edges, but I can see the noticeable growth there. And there's also a lot of short hair around the perimeter of my head. Like, it gets a little bit annoying that sometimes it'll like stick up, but it's new growth. At first I was like, oh my God, is it damaged? But then I realized it was in places like over here where there wasn't hair for a little bit. So the whole perimeter of my hair is growing back. I don't know if it's noticeable. If you if you saw what it used to look like, you'll see it's significantly grown back. Growing back in. It's still over here. I'm still missing hair right here, and there's still some patches, but the camera can't pick it up. I think the camera's actually making it look a little worse than it actually is in real life because of the light. I'm sitting right by a window, but there's like really, really fine hair there, and it's growing back, so I feel really great about that. And I do think that a huge part of why my hair in the areas that it did fall out is growing back is the vitamins. I take my vitamins consistently, and I am eating a nutritious diet. So I think all of that is aiding in my hair growth. And what people fail to realize is that the reason that your hair falls out after bariatric surgery is malnutrition. In the beginning, you're doing a lot of changes to your system and how you normally would eat. That shock to the system can cause things to go haywire in your body, and your hair is one of those things that will fall out if your body feels like it's being malnourished. And in the beginning, there's really not much around that, because in the beginning you are mostly just drinking protein shakes. You are mostly just, when you start eating protein straight. Like, most people, including myself, didn't really eat a crazy amount of carbs in the beginning. For me, I think I reintroduced carbs earlier than most people would. I think maybe around like 3-4 months I was eating carbs with every meal, well, most meals. And I think that did stop me from having significant hair loss, because I see some people who still will eat a plate of just chicken. And while that's lots of protein, and maybe that might be beneficial after a workout or something like that, for the most part, your meals should be balanced. There should be protein, there should be carbs, there should be vegetables, there should be like a well-rounded amount of nutrients on your plate. And that's how you're able to reduce the amount of hair loss you have and make sure that you keep your vitamin levels high outside of also taking your vitamins. So just keeping your diet well-rounded is how to do that. And I think that for me, that has been a huge reason why not only my blood work is good, but also I avoided real major hair loss. Like, it was literally just my edges that fell out. Now, don't get me wrong, I did not want my edges to fall out. It hurt my heart. I was very heartbroken about it, because, you know, we love edges. We love having full edges. But in hindsight, losing a little bit of my edges versus losing amount of hair back here, it's okay. Speaking of vitamins though, the reason I had said mostly being consistent is, what was it now? Like 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks? A week and a half, 2 weeks ago was Ryan's birthday, her 4th birthday. We went to Disney World. It was a magical vacation. If any of you have been to Disney, you know that place is literally, like, I don't know what's in the air over there, but it literally is the most like magical place on earth. Loved it there. But because I was so caught up in the hype of Disney, I completely, like, I have a bad habit of when I go on vacation, I don't always stay on top of my vitamins. Like, I just don't. I didn't eat anything bad at Disney really. I had a little bit of a funnel cake one time and a Rice Krispie treat. But for the most part, I barely ate anything, so I didn't gain any weight while at Disney. But what I didn't do was take my vitamins at all. Like, we were there for maybe like 4 days, and in those 4 days, I took not a single vitamin, not a multi, not a probiotic, not a calcium chew, nothing. And mind you, I brought them with me. But I was just so caught up in the fun that I didn't take it. So when I got back from surgery, I could feel the difference. So going from being really consistent to switching over to no consistency at all, like not taking it. When I got back from Disney, I felt extremely lethargic. I felt a little sick. I felt just like the wind had just been taken out of me. Like, I felt horrible. And the moment I was able to realize that it was a result of not taking my vitamins, I was able to be like, oh, let me go take them. But it took me like 3 days after coming back to realize that I hadn't been taking them. And by then, like, I was ready. My body was ready to shut down. So there was a point in time where I was like, I wonder if these vitamins are even really necessary. But yeah, they are. Take your vitamins, they're necessary. Next update I have here is that the fear for me, there was a while there where I was really scared of regain. And that's not something that I'm really scared of anymore. Of course, the scale is going to fluctuate. So for me, the scale for me fluctuates, give or take maybe 5 pounds or so in either direction. Maybe I'll lose some weight sometimes and then I'll gain some weight, but it doesn't go really for me above, it never goes above 170 ever. So I pretty much stay in the like 155 to 169 range at all points. It'll just fluctuate within that zone. And for me, that doesn't change my clothing size at all. So it's not really a noticeable fluctuation. It just sticks within that range of things. Usually, well, I'll wait until I show you what I weigh, because that's pretty much where I've been consistently. Sometimes a little bit less, but I'll show you that I'll talk about that a little bit more once I show what I weigh now. But yeah, I haven't been scared of regain, and the reason is because I've been pretty accountable to what I'm eating, and I am under the notion that as long as you don't overeat, you won't gain weight. Like, gaining weight comes from eating more than your body needs to survive. And when you eat more than your body needs to survive, your body starts to store the food. But as long as I am not doing that, I realize that I don't gain that much weight. And a lot of the times, to be honest with you, the times that I do get on the scale and it's a little bit more, it's honestly because I need to use the bathroom. Like, I just need to poop. Like, literally today, I kid you not, I got on the scale and I was like, the scale's a little, and mind you, the weight that I took for this video was yesterday. That wasn't today. But today, I saw the scale there and I usually don't get on the scale that often, but I got on the scale this morning and I was like, what? I gained weight from yesterday? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then a little while later, I went in the bathroom. I had to use the bathroom. I pooped, got back on the scale, and the 3 pounds that I had thought I gained in a day, it was poop. Like, after I pooped, I got back on the scale and the 3 pounds were gone and I was back to the weight that I was yesterday, the weight that I'm about to show you. And yeah, so that just goes, the reason I'm saying that is just to remind you that sometimes the reason it's not good to get on the scale is that the scale going up doesn't always mean that you gained fat. Sometimes you really need to poop. Sometimes it's just like there's poop in your stomach not your stomach, where's poop sit? Wherever it go, I know where poop goes in your body, but it's just not in my brain right now. So wherever that is, it's there and it's weighing on you. There's food there. Maybe you got your period and you're bloated. Maybe you haven't been drinking your water and you have a lot of water retention in your body and you need to pee it out or sweat it out or whatever it is, but it needs to get out. But there's so many things that can lead to the scale fluctuating that have nothing to do with actual fat gain. So I'm just in a place where I know that I do not eat enough food to ever be 275 pounds ever again in my life. Like, I already know that. And because of that, I am not scared of it anymore. And when I do see the scale go up, I'm not immediately like, oh my God, I'm gonna gain all my weight back. Like, that fear, and I think I mentioned in my last update, that fear, that irrational fear of feeling like if I eat something, I'm gonna gain so much weight, like that has really gone away. As for the past few months, I've been able to see that my lifestyle is not conducive to gaining a significant amount of weight. And I think that just being able to see the fact that I've been able to maintain my size has really helped me calm down. It helped me calm down. It was like, Karen, relax. As well as going to the gym, and I told you there's been a few roadblocks with that. I still consider myself to be somebody who is consistent in the gym, injury and summer schedule aside. I'm someone, I enjoy working out. It's not something that is a stress to me. It's something that I enjoy doing. And with that, once I started working out, the scale did go up a little bit, but that's because of, I got muscles. Like, I'm stronger and that weighs more. So even things like that, like I know when I'm in the gym, the scale gonna go up a little bit, like maybe a pound or two, and that's fine. Like, I'm able to see with my clothing that my clothing still fits me the same, and I'm good. So that mental hurdle is something that I've been avoiding lately. But what I haven't been avoiding is the body dysmorphia. Like, even though I'm not scared to get like of regain, body dysmorphia every now and then still does come and kick me in the butt. I don't know why. Even though I'm aware that I'm not really gaining weight and that I'm still the same size, body dysmorphia comes, and now it comes twofold for me. So there are certain times where I look at myself and I'll be like I'll think that I look heavier than I do in reality, because I know I'm not heavier, because one, the scale didn't go up, two, my clothes fit me exactly the same. But I look in the mirror and sometimes I'll catch myself at certain angles and I'll be like feeling down about myself. Like, there's been times where I've been like getting ready to go out and like I can't find something to wear because I don't feel like I look good in any of my clothes, and like I start stressing out, and my husband's like, you look amazing, like what are you talking about, put that on, that outfit looks good, and my brain just won't see it. And then there are other times where I'll look at myself and I'll be like, oh my god, like you need to gain a little weight, like you look too skinny. And it's just like, what? Like, it's like my brain is just fighting, like, no, you can't be confident. And like my brain is just fighting to take the confidence away from me. So I've been doing a lot of mental work to just kind of talk to myself and realize that these things that my brain is trying to teach me is not true. My brain, I've always been my worst enemy when it comes to confidence. Confidence is something that I have never truly felt. I think me in life now, I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to feel it more than I've ever in my life, and which is kind of sad, because like I'm not the most confident person. But even with me currently not being the most confident person, I still feel like I am more confident in myself, in my appearance, and my abilities to an extent than I have ever been in my life. So I'm hoping that that is just an upward trajectory, and when we get to the next update, I can tell you that that continues to improve. I'm sure it's a lifelong battle that I'll never just wake up and be like, now I'm confident, you know, like it's a journey. And I think I'm getting to a better place with that, but I still do struggle and beat myself up over things that I shouldn't have to beat myself up over. So I say all that to say that while yes, I'm not afraid of gaining weight or anything like that anymore, like I'm good in that department, I still do struggle with body dysmorphia and poor body image from time to time. I'm human. And on that same line of fears, I actually did an Instagram post about this recently. If you follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. But I have developed this crazy irrational fear of seeing people in person that knew me before I lost the weight. And that fear comes from just feeling like people aren't going to recognize me. Yeah, people aren't going to recognize me. And it happened because I was at work and a former coworker of mine's interviewed at my job, and they didn't recognize me. Like, they legitimately did not recognize me. And at first I was like, well, that's kind of rude. Like, I worked with you for a few years, like, you know who I am. But then I'm like, Karen, you look completely different. Like, that's why they don't recognize you. Mind you, also my last name is different because I go by my husband's last name now and I didn't at the time. So there's that too. But like, because of that, it's given me this fear of like, just anytime I'm out and I might see somebody that I knew before, I'll literally hide. I will hide because I don't want to have to deal with the hi, and then they're like, who are you? And then I have to be like, oh, it's me, it's Karen. Remember, I know you from XYZ. And then we have to go down this whole thing of, oh, you look so different, and then have a whole the whole thing just gives me anxiety. I don't want to do it. It scares me. I'm already a naturally really socially anxious person, and literally thinking about having to do that has just given me anxiety, and like, I don't want to do it. I want to avoid it at all costs. It scares me. Is it irrational? Probably. But do I still feel it? Absolutely. I don't want to have that conversation every single time. So I would like to just from here on out avoid humans, especially ones that I know from when I was heavier. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, the ones that I know from the past that follow me on social media, for them, for the most part, I'm not afraid of, because they already have seen me and know what's up. But it's everybody else. Stay away from me. And along those same lines, another thing that has been making me feel very, very anxious, that is just as I progress, because I feel like as I've lost weight, there's been like a few different versions of me now at this point, and this version of me has been the most consistent. I feel like I've looked like this for a couple of months now. Like, it's been consistent, my weight's been consistent, my appearance has been consistent. And now that I get to this point where, like, not only do I look better, but I'm also like solidifying a pretty solid wardrobe, and I think dressing myself in a better way and all of that stuff, and obviously looking good. And because of that, and context, before, when I was bigger, it's not that I was ugly, but it's just that I kind of was in a place where I felt pretty invisible. Although I don't think I had an ugly face, I wasn't a person that people gravitated to. I wasn't a person that people looked at and found particularly attractive. I kind of felt like I just kind of existed in spaces. I was invisible. I feel like people literally did not look at me. I entered rooms and people did not turn around. Like, I just felt like an invisible person. And as a person who deals with a lot of anxiety issues, and as a person who, despite putting myself on the internet as a job now at this point, because at this point I would call YouTube a job, despite that, I am an introvert. I am somebody who is socially awkward and prefers to be alone. And when I was bigger and I would walk into rooms and go completely unnoticed, that there was some level of comfort in that. Although there was also insecurity in that, because it always made me wonder, like, why don't people notice me? Why do I always feel invisible? There was comfort in knowing that I didn't have to talk to people because nobody even looked my way. But now that I look like this, I notice that I get a lot of attention that I just didn't get before. And I don't know how to handle it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to converse in this way. I notice it like at the mall. I'll be at the mall and like I'll be looking at something, and like the salespeople would even like be more likely to, oh my God, that would look so amazing on you. And yeah, you could say like, yeah, they would do that to anybody. They're trying to make a sale. They didn't do that to me before. I walked into stores and people did not greet me, did not tell me that an outfit would look amazing on me, did not do that at all. Or I'll be in a store, not a store, a restaurant. Like, this has happened so many times to the point where my husband is just like, do I need to come everywhere with you? Because I'll go into a restaurant by myself, like just to like pick up food, and the person that is like behind the bar or something will just start handing me drinks. Just free drinks. I'm not even here to drink. I'm here to pick up my to-go order. They're giving me free drinks. They're giving me free food to try while I wait for my food. I'll be getting something to eat and they'll be like, oh, I can just take XYZ off your order. Like, discounts that I was never getting these discounts before. I've been eating here for years and I've never gotten a discount before, but now I get discounts constantly. Literally almost every single restaurant that I have entered alone without my husband, mind you, almost always, if I'm not with my husband or with somebody, I'm usually just picking up food and I'm not sitting down. Regardless, I have gotten something for free almost every single time. That's not suspicious. And it makes me wonder, like, is it because they find me attractive? Is it because in this new body, I just have more of a welcoming presence? I remember being bigger and being told about that I had resting, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on my channel, so I'll say B-I-T-C-H. I had that resting bleep face, where I don't get that comment as much anymore, so maybe I just seem more welcoming, which is why it happens. Also, just like when I'm outside, I'll notice people looking at me, and it's not just men, like it's girls and guys. I'll notice just staring at me, and it's not like a type of stare, it's like a type of stare, you know, that type of thing where it's like, oh, you think I'm cute, like I can tell. And before, nobody looked at me like that, like no one. So it's just at a point where I just don't know how to handle it. Like, it makes me uncomfortable, not because like I actually am like offended by any of it, but just because I don't know what to do. Like I've never been faced with this type of thing before, so I don't know how to handle it. And let me know if you're experiencing something similar, but just the new level of attention, it makes me uncomfortable, but it also makes me question like myself before. Like, why didn't I feel any type of attention before? Like, how superficial really is the world that literally nobody paid attention to me before, and now like I'll have people literally stumbling over themselves to help me. Like I can't open a freaking door. Like literally everywhere I go, there's just such an overwhelming amount of attention that it's really genuinely confusing to me. But yeah, that I think are all the updates that I can think of right now. I think I'm gonna be doing some of these on TikTok as well, because I want to get more consistent over there. But for now, those are all the updates that I can think of. So it's time. Let's go ahead and look at what I weigh now at around a year and a half post-op. All right, so as you can see, I now weigh about 164 pounds. I think when I did my last update, which was a few months ago, I was like 163, 162, somewhere around there. So I've gained like 2 pounds or so. But also keep in mind that the gym adds weight. I clearly with today was very constipated, so that can add weight, but also it doesn't matter because my clothing size is still the same. I still wear a small, medium, and I feel like I look good. So I'm not as obsessed with the number on the scale. So far in my journey, the lowest number I've seen on the scale, there was one day where I was like 155, but that was literally a day. But other than that, I want to say I think that might have been a glitch. But in reality, the lowest I've been is 158. That amount of weight for a little bit of time, like about a month or two. So that's what I would say was at my actual lowest weight. And then the highest number that I have ever seen on the scale since getting to 158 was 168. And that was, I think, also mostly constipation. But even with that, I was actually pretty comfortable at 168. To be honest, I kind of preferred it, only because at 158, I felt like my face was starting to look really drawn in, and I don't like that look on me. And also I felt like my loose skin was more noticeable, whereas at 168, I felt like my face looked more just like less drawn in. Like I felt like my face looked better. And my face is fine now at this weight, but at 168, I wasn't mad at the way I was looking at 168. And then also my loose skin, I felt like looked pretty good with a little bit of weight on. So when I was 158, I was intentionally upping my calories and my carbs to try to gain a little bit of weight since I was in the gym. And that's what got me to this point, the 164, which I think for me, 164, 165 is a really comfortable weight for me. It actually was my goal weight to be 165 because I had been 165 before and I knew that this weight looked good on me. So at 168, I wasn't pissed, but I didn't want to go over the 170 mark. I felt like that would be uncomfortable for me. So I feel like where I'm at now is my real comfort zone, and I have been maintaining being around this weight for quite some time now. So I feel really, really happy about that, because I feel like at this weight, people always talk about how like they don't see a lot of loose skin on me. And I think it's because of this weight. This is my happy weight. This is where I think my body wants to be. And I'm just hoping that I'm able to be consistent with just staying at this weight. I don't want to go under 160. I think 160 to 165 would be just a great place for me to just maintain. And yeah, so I've been doing that, and I think that's just come from maintaining small portions. I eat about maybe, let's say, 5 ounces of food in each sitting, with that being mixed with, I have vegetables on my plate usually. I almost always have carbs on my plate, and I always have protein on my plate. And I think just having that good balance has just really helped me maintain. As well as with going to the gym, I don't go to the gym for weight loss. I go to the gym to train my body to be stronger and to improve the appearance of my loose skin. For me, the gym has nothing to do with weight loss. I eat small portions for weight loss, but for the gym, I think what that has helped me build muscle, which has then filled out some of my loose skin, which helps with my appearance. So overall, it's just like overall, how have you been doing since having VSG surgery? I've been doing really well. I've had some people request for me to talk about the negatives, but when I say I honestly have not had that many negative things, like my back, me going to the chiropractor, that has been something that has been really uncomfortable for me, that is related to weight loss. But I don't think it's related to VSG. I think it's just related to losing a lot of weight in what is considered a short period of time. Outside of that, maybe like being constipated sometimes, but that really isn't something I deal with as much anymore due to my probiotics and my best friend right here, Mrs. Coffee. I don't really deal with that anymore. So like, I can't honestly think of that many things that are actually negative side effects for me. And I know that that is a blessing. I know that there are a lot of people out there who don't have that story and who have a lot of negative side effects, and that's their truth. That is what they have experienced. But anybody who has had this surgery will tell you that it is a journey that is different for every single person. So just because I haven't experienced anything really that is all that negative doesn't mean that you won't. And just because someone else has dealt with things that are negative, that doesn't mean that you won't. Like, everybody is so specific, so you just gotta be a part of it to really know what's gonna happen, because there's no way, watching my journey does not mean that you're gonna have the same journey, and watching someone else's journey doesn't mean, nobody's the same. Everybody's journey is gonna be different. So it is a bit annoying to me when I hear people telling me like, can you talk more about the negatives? You don't talk about the negatives enough. I'm honestly not experiencing them. So I can't talk to something that I am not experiencing. Things have genuinely been smooth sailing for me. And I think it is hard for people sometimes to wrap their head around the idea that things can just be good. I think for me, outside of the back issues, the main things that I've been dealing with that are negative are more mental than they are physical. Like, I have had some like mental health struggles, and I've talked about them on my channel before, that I've had since VSG. And once again, I don't think that VSG did it. I think such a dramatic change in my life that happened quickly, I think that is what did that. And I think whether I lost weight through VSG or through anything else, those struggles would still be present. So I just want us to understand that there is no trophy in struggle. It's okay if things are going well for you. You're allowed to experience bliss. Like, things are allowed to be good. And we don't need to always try to look for what's negative if there isn't anything negative. And y'all should know me well enough at this point to know that if I was experiencing something bad, I would tell you. I'm very, very honest. And have been extremely transparent throughout this journey. So trust me, if there was something negative for me to talk about, I either did already or I would. I'm not hiding anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Like I said, I'm definitely feeling in better spirits, so I will be back to be uploading consistently on this channel, as well as on my other platforms, Instagram and TikTok. I'm uploading consistently everywhere. I want to really take this seriously. So yeah, I'm going to be present. So make sure you're following me on these platforms if you're not already. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss a video from me. Once again, thank you. If you've made it this far, you're a real one. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.
Where in the world is Karen San Diego? From BK to Belly, it's anywhere she say so. She changing your life, can see it straight through her eyes.